right, testing. Um, just testing this out. This is Connoisseur Talk number 1. This is going to be like an ongoing series that I'm doing for my Substack and potentially putting this out on YouTube. So eventually this might be up on YouTube as well, just to get some more traffic going on a Substack. And for Connoisseur Talk number 1, I'm going to be talking about the advice I would give to my younger self as a beat maker. I've been doing this since 15 years now. I started in 2010, summer of 2010, and yeah, been 15 years. Making hip-hop beats, mostly sample-based, and this journey has taught me a lot about just having a craft, having an art form, and working within it. So this is just my way of giving back to those people who are on the path and trying to figure it out. So it's going to help anybody, whether you're been in it longer than me or just getting in the game of making music, or it could apply to any art form really. But the first key advice I would give is that for producers, mainly people that's exactly like me, like sample-based producers, I would say find a film composer you'd like and sample their music. So that's number 1. The reason, because I have my notes here just to keep me on track, because I tend to go all over the place. I'm an abstract thinker, so I kind of bounce off different ideas, and I'm trying to keep it clear and concise for the most part. So why I say film composer is because film music, it's meant to evoke emotion and enhance the film. It's meant to sort of carry the weight of the film or enhance it or make it more, create tension, enhance on like a certain mood, like a sadness, a scene that is sad or exhilarating or leading up to like a climactic moment. So when you're listening to this music in film, it's meant to bring something out of you, right? So with a film composer, and there are so many out there, I mean, you can name like the big ones like Hans Zimmer, Ennio Morricone. He has a great doc on Amazon Prime. I think it's just called Ennio. I watched that. That was really good. I actually need to watch that again. My favorite at the moment is Piero Piccioni. He's an Italian film composer. And the reason why I say this is because sampling like film music and film OSTs or whatever they call them for like TV shows and stuff like that, what it has done like on a psychological perspective for me making beats, it gives me a greater understanding of how to arrange and compose something like that. Arrange something that like finding a sample within that sort of field of film music, drawing it out and expanding on it and enhancing it and giving it like depth and like range and tone and context and things like that. It changes how you see like crafting music. It's not just putting beats together now. You're like you're crafting a sonic space for a person to exist in, not just for a rapper, but just for a listener in general. I see myself as like a person who's trying to compose like a art piece in like sonic form. That's how I see sampling. It's like I'm trying to compose an art piece in sonic form and make a person evoke an emotion out of a person, just like a film composer does. And this mentality sort of came about when I started the Fool's Gold series, beat tape series. And the idea came from me watching this TV show called Columbo. And it's a detective show. It's a what you would call a how catch 'em. There's like two types. I think there's like two types of murder mysteries. There's how to catch 'em, how catch 'em, and then who done it. Who done it is like you're finding out who like the killer is as the show goes along or the movie goes along. But how catch 'em is like within the first 30 minutes you see who, what, when, where, why, and then you see the detective figure it out all throughout the show or the movie or whatever the case is. So that's Columbo, and I think that show actually kind of like, on a side note, like that show was like a pioneer for that sort of thing, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure it was inspired by some other murder mystery things that came before it, of course, but I never seen something like that, and it's been something enjoyable to watch. But being a music producer, after a while, your ears start to catch on to everything, because just from sampling and listening to so much music to sample, you're training your ears in a way of looking for certain sounds and being open to different sounds. And as I'm watching like this TV show and hearing how the sounds come in, and because in Columbo show, if you want to watch it, it's on Tubi. I watch it on Tubi, and like you can tell, it's like the music is very subtle when it comes in. The music is very subtle. It comes in at specific points, at a specific moment. It's not just there just to be there, which I love. I love movies or TV shows where the dialogue is like it's not cut in with like a whole bunch of music. Like that's why I don't like shows where there's always a setting in like a club or like some type of loud venue. Obviously, of course, it makes sense for the movie or the TV show to where the music in the background mimics how it would be in real life. But to me, film is about 90% dialogue and like, of course, plot, story, development, character development, how it's shot, how it moves, and is it moving too slow? Is it moving too fast? And, this is just like how I analyze it or observe when I'm watching like a film or TV show. But I'm probably going off topic here again, but these things is something I look at when I watch a TV show, and this is why I like it, because the music is very sublime. It comes in and it strikes and it hits a point and it does what it's supposed to do. And with this TV show, the first 4 episodes, I was kind of rocking with the music. And just like, I was like, man, this is dope. And then that inspired me to do a whole tape with it. And luckily enough, I got on YouTube, typed in the film, the TV OST for Columbo, and I found a whole YouTube channel of just somebody had like grabbed all the music from like season 1 to like season who knows, grabbed all of that, made a beat tape with it, and yeah, just went off to the races. And just how like just making that tape just opened me up to like the possibilities of like, wow, like I never thought that like sampling film music could take my understanding of sampling music to a whole nother level. So yeah, I would say find a film composer and sample their music, because that's how I started the Full Skull beat tape series. I did half of it was like Columbo OST music, and the other half was jazz noir, because that's sort of the same sound as the Columbo OST music. So I added that as well for the first season. Second season, I did the same thing. Piero Piccioni, I was doing Italian 70s music. So I was, half of it is like, well, I say 50-60% is like Piero Piccioni music from the 70s, and then some other Italian music that I found that I liked, and I made music with that. To me, that's my favorite out of the two so far. I'm working on number 3, and it is going to be set in Japanese 80s music, and I'm a little bit more than halfway through that, about 14 tracks in. I usually do 20, and I already did a prelude for it, so I did like maybe 10 8 tracks already. That's already up on DSPs. Yeah. So yeah, I would say that find a film composer you like and sample their music, just because you're sampling music that is evoking an emotion. And so by doing that, you're learning how to evoke it in your music just from osmosis. Because to me, music is very symbiotic. It's kind of like, how could I describe it? It's like venom. It's like once you hear it, you're able to mimic it in a way and assimilate it within you and carry out certain things you probably wouldn't be able to do if you never heard that sound before. That's why when, like, I remember listening to a Japanese artist last night. It was like music from the 80s, because I was looking for some more material to finish this tape up, and I heard a lot of songs that were recreated from songs I already heard. Soul, what was it? It was like 2 records that I heard from different soul artists, American soul artists, but this person was doing them. And I was like, these sound really familiar. And then I looked them up and I was like, oh, because, once you hear something, you could recreate it in your way, because music, it's a rhythm that anybody can get on if you have the capability and the ear to assimilate it and carry out how you carry it out. So yeah, that's one. Number 2 would be embrace constraints and limitations. It creates a level of focus you won't have with unlimited time and resources. I made a little note here. This is why most sequels are bad or underwhelming. Yeah, so I'll just take the Full Skull series again as a testament to this, because I'm setting myself in a certain time period, a certain subgenre, and I'm keeping it there. That's my constraints. That's my limitations. So if I find something like, when I was working on Fool's Gold Season 2 with the Italian 70s music, there may be an artist I find and I love the song, but if it's in the 80s, then I gotta leave it alone. If it's in 69 and it's great, I gotta leave it alone. So that's the discipline. So with this, it's like what you're doing is you're crafting a very specific, bespoke, I guess the word is tailor-made item. This is like a cultural artifact in sonic form for me. These are like culturally like dense artifacts for me. Like I feel like these are kind of like art pieces in a sense. And that's what I'm trying to elevate my stuff as too, is like, how can I turn this into an experience and not just, some more music, which is cool, but I want to create I want to make what I do into kind of like a luxury brand. Like I want to sell things at a certain price point, and in order to do that, I have to create an experience that can't be replicated anywhere else. So in order to do that, I want to create something that's very specific to me, and that is these tapes, and doing it in a way where I'm under a certain level of limitations kind of skyrockets where I can go with it. For example, I just started making, I just got in the habit of making poetry. It's another art form I'm getting into, and I'm learning the ways and things to figure out in that art form as well. Thankfully, since I've been making music for 15 years, it's helped me to also hop into this thing and go along a little bit faster than I would in music, because I already have a craft that I'm pretty much set in, that is my devotion in a sense, to where I'm making stuff and I'm at a level now to where I don't care about what I used to care about, the petty stuff, I would say, like trying to be put on, trying to be on another rapper's album, trying to get placements. These are the things I cared about when I first started, but now I could care less. Because when you first start off with something, you might have super huge dreams about it, and it's hard to let them go. It took me a while to let them go, but that's the journey of figuring all that out in real time, realizing what you want and which is going to be. I'll refer back to that, because that's something I want to dig in on a little bit deeper in this one as well. But use constraints. That is your best friend. Creativity thrives in constraints and limitations, because if you look at most sequels, they are trash because they do not keep that same level of fire they had in the beginning, because the idea may be original, it may be fresh, it may be new, it may be innovative, and it may be something that's just like, it was a moment in time that the world needed. And for the second one, the first one does well, gets a lot of press, awards maybe, a lot of people are rating it high. Then the second movie comes out, and it's just, it's lackluster, because they got all this money, all this time, more resources, and they don't, who's the person that says, okay, the first movie was, let's throw some numbers out here. Let's say the first movie is $5 million budget. Second movie is 20 million, 30 million. You don't say, okay, we got 20 million, 30 million for this budget. We're going to use half. Let's use half and use the rest on whatever we can to, market it or whatever. I don't know how films do their thing, but that seems logic. That seems like the next thing that would make sense to me in my mind. Like, not use all the money on the film to make it more grander than it is. Like, how can we keep the same energy of the first one and bring it to this one, but maybe expand it a little bit more? Like, let's expand this universe to something bigger. So that's my thinking, but that's just my creative abstract mind looking at it. Like, for example, I was watching Knives Out. Came out in 2019. Incredible movie. It's one of those murder mystery movies. Think it's a whodunit. Dope movie. Funny movie. A lot of dope twists and turns, like any murder mystery movie. Lot of like climactic moments and like things you got caught off guard with, and how every suspenseful thriller mystery movie is. Then you go to the second one. It was like, yeah, you can see kind of how the energy is somewhat the same, but it fell flat. Like, usually when I watch movies and they're good, I watch it a second time, because the second time you absorb a lot of the symbols and stuff like that. Like, the second time I remember watching Knives Out, I remember one scene, homegirl and Chris Evans, his character, they was in a restaurant or whatever, and she was eating chili, and when the camera panned to her and she was talking to him, behind her, like right over in this area, you could see like a symbol on the restaurant wall, and it was like a boat wheel, like like you got the spokes on it and all that, like if you would turn it like this. And I was like, hold up, that wheel looks familiar. And I think I looked it up. It was like the wheel of Dharma, it was like wheel of the Dharma in like Buddhism. I think it's a Buddhist sort of symbol. I was like, okay. Because in movies, like, another side note, in movies, everything is intentional for the most part. Unless somebody comes out and does an interview and say, like, that's not intentional, that was just in there for some reason, we forgot to cut that on the editing floor or whatever. But most things in the movies, like, there's intentional meaning behind it. There's not just there just to be there. Especially in a shot like that, where it's like you can see it plain as day, like my hand, almost like where this is, just sitting there. So it's just like, that has to mean something. And I just looked up the wheel or whatever, and I saw that. I was like, that's interesting. And that led me to write a poem dealing with what that symbol meant, and bouncing that off that led to another idea, and then I wrote a poem or whatever. But yeah, it's just like, going back to the original point, that's why sequels are bad, because most sequels are bad, because they just take it to the extreme, because they got all this money and time and resources, and it always, for the most part, underwhelms. That's why I can't believe I'm going another side note, but I guess it all pulls in together. Just shows you how connected these things are. Um, there's a movie I call a Perfect 10 movie, um, Heat by Michael Mann. I guess he wrote it and directed it. Perfect 10, Robert De Niro, Al Pacino at their best. I guess it was like a thing of like who's the better actor, and this was the movie to show like them doing like going heads up in an actual movie. So incredible movie. Every time I watch it, it's like, dang. Like even the moment, like when the first time I watched it, the moment when he was driving on the highway and he was pretty much scot free, and then he just like he swerved off the highway to the exit. And if you've seen the movie, you know how it ends. Oh man, I was so pissed when I first watched it. Second time, I was still pissed. Even if I know what was gonna happen, and that's how good the movie is. Like it keeps a consistent like um, tension through every scene. It's really tense, and it goes like that. And it kept going like that as well. So great movie. And smart thing Michael Mann did, right? I'll show you. This is gonna be dope. He didn't create a sequel. This motherfucker created a novel for number 2. A novel. And I haven't even read it, but I know it's gonna be ill. Just for the simple fact that homie decided not to create a sequel and to a perfect movie. Like this is like regarded as like all around the board like a perfect movie. He created a novel to follow it up, because now you can expand the world much more without having to put all that into film. And I'm pretty sure of course this is leading after the events of the last movie, so he's expanding on certain other characters, stories, and stuff like that. So incredible. So I guess that wraps up number 2. Embracing constraints and limitations is very important. It will save you lots of time, and it will blast like whatever project you're working on through the roof. So constraints are important. Number 3, don't get stuck on one wave. There are more to catch. Always look to new territory to explore. Don't get too comfortable in what is familiar. So for how this applies to like sample-based producers, because that's who I am. I'm primarily a sample-based producer, and this is obviously who I'll be talking to my younger self as a sample-based producer. I would tell myself not to get stuck on one type of genre to sample, because people tend to get into like a certain wave, I guess, and they're like, man, this is working. I gotta keep it going. Before you know it, this this holding of it becomes like this, and you start to attach to it, and you start to cling, and before you know it, you're just like, you can't let it go. And this is because for obvious reasons, let's say you make a beat it blows up. It has a certain specific sound to it. People want you to recreate it over and over again. And that was sort of the reason why I kind of shied away from, after a while, trying to be like the next Kanye West or whatever. The type of astronomical dreams I had when I first started, because at the time that was like my favorite person who made music, especially in 2010. I mean, that Dark Twisted Fantasy, that changed my life, sonically. Just the way he created that, a world for that album, and how it came out, and everybody had like these elite performances rapping wise. Like, I think that was one of Rick Ross's best verses on that album. Nicki Minaj had like one of the better verses on like a song with like Jay-Z, Kanye. I think it was Sci Had a Prince on that song. It was a lot of dope MCs on that song, and she probably had the best verse up there. So, and like, yeah, that was a incredible album, and sonically it just just expanded my mind. So what I'm saying here is like, don't get stuck on one wave, because like surfers, they like people that really surf, they be out there every day catching more waves. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's always new waves out here. There's always new sounds, new genres to explore. Not like new genres that are coming out to sample, but new genres you haven't tapped into yet. Like, for example, for me, I mean, I'll still sample soul music, but for me, I feel like that's like it's too easy. And I say that like with the most humility as possible, because I love soul music, but sampling it is like, this is too easy. Just for me, that's just, my opinion. People will have like their own like kind of grievances with that, but it's like, it's whatever. I've been making beats for 15 years, and sampling soul music is great starting out, but I'm like a adventurer. I'm like Jerry Lopez. This is a surfer from the 70s. That's why I keep bringing up the surf analogy. It's like, I think he was from Hawaii, and Hawaii is known they have a certain spot for waves, for surfers and stuff like that. That's like really popular. And I remember this coming from a documentary. I forgot what it was called, but it was on Patagonia Films, the YouTube channel. And it was a documentary on Jerry Lopez's whole life. And I remember there was this one segment in his journey where he went to Bali. And in Bali, they had these like waves that were like these humongous waves. I'm talking about like you can Google them, you can type it up on YouTube and see surfers, and you could just see like this wave is just like, it just like, when you see a person like surfing it and the camera's panning, it just seems like he's going on and on and on. It looks crazy. You just gotta watch it, whatever. It's hard to describe it, but the waves look like amazing. Like, and it seems like when a person is on it, they're on it for a while. Like, it seemed like they surfing for a whole mile to the end of when the wave ends, and and you see so many surfers, and the space, this area that they're on is just vast. You know what I'm saying? It's not like a crowded area. So like that's how I feel. I'm like, where is the next area where like there's pretty unexplored or it's pretty quiet. It's not a lot of people here. It's not saturated. We're not all doing the same thing. We're not all trying to create a certain sound. Like, so my sample plug has been hitting me crazy with some with some like out of this world, like stuff I would never think of, like looking up to grab, like stuff you just like I remember finding a sample. It was a gospel song. It was a white lady. I think it was from like the 70s or the 80s, and she had it was a drum machine gospel song. Like it was kind of weird, but I was like, I'm rocking with this. This is even like that's the point. It's like you gotta listen to other stuff just because, even if you don't sample it, it's gonna change how you think about approaching certain stuff. Like I remember Carter Got Wings, huge producer in hip hop. Countless names he done produced for: Wiz Khalifa, Meek Mill, the Migos, Kendrick, and Drake. List goes on. But I remember in the interview he did, he said that like you want to listen to different music, different genres of music, just because when you do that before you start making music, you might create a new drum pattern based off of hearing something new that you wouldn't do while you making beats. Similar to, what I'm trying to get across. Like you're gonna make something new just because your ears are hearing something different, and it's gonna react in your mind a different way. So like for example, I made a beat where I had sampled a D'Angelo song, and I didn't want to put regular drums on it. And I heard like, I was listening around that time, I was listening to a lot of Afrobeat. I listened to a lot of Fela Kuti. And I just love like the drum patterns, like especially the song Teacher Don't Teach Me No Nonsense. I think that's the song. I think I copied that sort of drum pattern for that beat, I think. Or maybe I don't know. But just listening to the Afrobeat in that time period of I happened to make that beat, it just like I had, instead of making just a regular boom bap sort of drum pattern, I made like an Afrobeat sort of feel, and it just opened me up creatively. So now when I hear something, I might not just hit the regular boom bap or just a regular drum loop on top of it. I might try a Afrobeat sort of groove, and it just it opens you up. This is what I'm like on. The huge key here is like you got to do this stuff to open your mind up to something new creatively. But I think this goes for all art forms. Like so I think this can apply for anybody that's doing any art form. To expand yourself, try your best to try to do like look at other stuff that you wouldn't even like, just to see how like just to see what it would do creatively. For me, I'll do a lot of different random stuff just to see how it would help me creatively. Like just watching that film on Jerry Lopez, it was like he had he had found something within it that I saw in my own art form. Like, I remember somebody was talking and they said, like, surfing a wave is almost like you feel like this electrical charge at the bottom of your feet, or they was trying to reference that to him, like he would feel that electrical charge at the bottom of his feet while he's surfing. And I would think that's what brings them back to the waves every day. It's just like that feeling of being out there on the ocean, and then you riding a wave, and there's an electrical charge that you get that's like that keeps you going every day. Like, that's how I feel when I'm on a drum machine, when I'm chopping up a loop and I find the right sequence that I like. There is nothing like that. Is to me is nothing like finding that part, because sometimes that's the whole beat. Like, I don't have to put no drums on it if I feel like it carries such a weight, and it doesn't need drums. Because at this point, I just know what sample loops, sequences need drums and which don't. So I just know off the top of my head, oh, that don't need drums. That's cool. I mean, you do this, that, and the third. Enhance this. See if I can evoke something stronger in this section, or, figuring it out as I go. But I kind of just know, like, 15 years into this now, I'm really moving off of instinct at this point. I think that's the point of, like, learning and consuming a whole bunch about your craft, so that eventually you don't have to think about it. It just comes out when you need it at the right moment, So that's how I feel about making music now. I just create off of instincts. If it feels right, it feels right. Excuse me. I don't question it anymore whatsoever. So I would say, yeah, just try to find more genres to look into sampling. That goes back into the whole film composer point of just like, that's a way to try to find something else to grasp onto and see how you can craft something that feels like what you're listening to, or you're getting an idea of how someone else would craft something sad, craft something that is like gritty and dark, melancholic, or crafting something for a romantic scene or a love scene, or a scene of joy and exuberation, or whatever. Exuberance. Maybe that should be the word. I guess that's a word. Exuberance, jubilation, whatever. But you're kind of like tapping into how someone would craft that and trying to evoke that yourself while you're sampling the music. I know it's not logical, because I'm not trying to give logic like 15 years into this. Like, you can easily look up 100 YouTube tutorials of how to make a beat, literally step by step. But this is the philosophy that can like transform how you see the music and how you can take it to another level, in my opinion. So yeah, explore more territories. Try to find your Bali spot, where there's a huge place of unexplored territory in your mind. Because obviously, I feel like after a while, all the ones that came before me that have like, that I call my ancestors in music, like a Pete Rock, like a Jay Dilla, a Madlib, a NF Doom, a Kanye, a Pharrell, Timbaland, so many people that I've listened to and enjoyed their music and enjoyed how they crafted beats, stuff like that. Um, Especially ones that are really sample based. I feel like they've, sampled everything that I could think of before I even crafted my first beat. So in my mind, I feel like I'm not trying to find some super rare sample that they haven't found. I'm trying to find my new territory, my new Bali spot where I could find some dope waves to surf on and see if I can have that same feeling I felt from the other stuff that I do like that I've explored and know I can create something dope out of that sound, out of that genre, or a little pocket of music that I've created so far. Um, Another little tip is find a instrument that you like. Like for me, it's a Spanish guitar. So I could easily dip through any music that has like a Spanish guitar lead, like it's led by a Spanish guitar, acoustic guitar. Um, that's why I have a tape called Como Estás, where the person I'm sampling, I think his name is Estas Tone. He's from what they called the Soviet Union before they broke up, I think, in that European Soviet Union Russia area type. Um, that whatever that was, place in that specific spot in Europe. He's from there, and I just think I can't remember where I found his music at, but I was like, yo, this is some incredible music. And so I was like, man, I'm gonna do a whole tape to this stuff. And it's probably one of my favorite works I ever put out. Um, just cause like the music is so um, it's like a film in itself. Like if you hear his music, especially like the super long